What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Amari. You tuned in to Talking Nonsense, and I'm here with my co-host, Christian Phillips, and we are starting our new coronavirus series, where we will be hosting our podcast through the Zoom app that a lot of people have been using these days because of the coronavirus and because we can't meet in person due to social distancing. So how are you feeling about this whole thing, Christian?
I'm pretty sick of it at this point. I understand the whole stay-at-home order kind of flatten the curve, but I'm ready for things to open back up. For example, I need a haircut, so it's getting on my nerves a little bit. But
I'm not. We go to the same barber, and let's just say I haven't really missed a cut.
well, lucky you.
Hey, some people just got the pull, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he did it from 6 feet away though. He had like the clippers on a hook, and No, I'm kidding, but nah, for real, man. I don't know if you heard it. Now I know we're friends on Facebook, so you probably seen it because I was tagged in the post. But my mom and 2 sisters contracted the virus, and they took away my fear of the virus when I see how they did so effortlessly. Like by the time my mom was the only one to get tested, but by my 2 sisters being in the house with her during the whole stay at home pandemic thing, obviously they assumed that they had it too, and they just took the proper precautions for it. And with my mom, by the time her results came back positive, she had already been through the rough part of the virus. Like she was on to the body aches and getting rid of her cough by the time her test results came back positive. So I feel like a lot of that is a lot of the reason why the numbers shoot like so drastically. I feel like a number of test results come back at the same time, and it's just they're just getting confirmed late. Not the cases are just popping up.
Mm-hmm. So have you been paying attention to those protests about opening up?
I think the protests are stupid. Only because like it's still out there and it's still real. And in time, the country will be back open, but there's no rush right now. Like
yeah, it's not effective. Here in Kansas, it would make no sense for people to start protesting now when they're projecting it to be open on May 3rd.
You feel me? In 2 weeks, a week,
yeah.
For real, a week and a half. But it's just stupid because states like Colorado, I feel like, first of all, states who have those high numbers should not be mad that the government is making them stay inside. They are only trying to protect you in the well-being of the state. You do not want to come outside too early and then everybody's just passing around to everybody. Then you gotta stay home because
to
come out.
Their logic makes no sense. They say that they're tired of being cooped up in the house, but if you come out in large gatherings, that's just going to extend the stay-at-home order. So you're still going to go without that. So
I do disagree with the medical professionals that stood in front of the cars in Denver. I'm not gonna lie to you. Only because you risk yourself enough at work. Why would you risk yourself on your time off to go in the middle of these people that obviously do not care about their well-being or the virus? I told the nurses at my job. I say I wouldn't have been surprised if people would have started getting out of their cars and coughing on the nurses and the doctors that were standing in front of their cars. Only because people are nasty and people are evil. If they're protesting a stay-at-home order that's for the betterment of the state, you think they care about you and your health? No. So I understand you got to stand for something, but I wouldn't have been standing in front of them cars.
Yeah, I didn't see that part, but
in Denver, it was nurses and doctors standing in front of people's cars during the protest. Okay. And Kentucky is opening up, I heard, or opened up due to their protest.
Didn't Florida open?
Florida, the state hasn't opened. The governor, Florida's plan before protests even started. The governor's plan was like once the curve got flattened, he said we'll start opening things back up slowly, piece by piece, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So all beaches opened up first. That's all that's pretty much like open, like back to regular motion beaches. But as far as everything else is still pretty much on a low number, stay at home type deal. But his whole process, like Rob DeSantis, as stupid as it sounded, I agree with the process of week by week opening things back up.
Yeah. I mean, this all ties in. This all has a large ripple effect. So I would not be surprised here in Kansas if they extended the stay-at-home order.
They did extend it a couple of days, didn't they?
I mean, extended after May 3rd.
I would. Only
I mean,
if you look like, if you really look at the ratio of the virus in Kansas, like compared to other states in this country, even smaller states, it's not high.
yeah.
And like I said, another thing about Kansas is we didn't have enough tests to get even people that had it already to get them tested.
I mean, states like California, they're not going to be open anytime soon.
My girlfriend's mom said something like she said it won't be too long before people just come out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why
they're already doing that.
Stay-at-home orders will start to cease because you can't take everybody to jail.
Yeah, I started being a little bit more cautious when Ellis County had their first case here.
We weren't scared about the first case only because it wasn't based in Ellis County. Like it was transported to the hospital, to Hayes Med, and that's just where they were staying after they got the virus, and it was in the hospital. Like they were quarantined by themselves in a section in the hospital. But I definitely started raising some eyebrows when we got that second, fourth, fifth, sixth case, because we got 6 cases here now.
Yeah, I mean, because you never know who those people came in contact with. I mean, you could walk past them in a Walmart. I mean,
yeah, true, but
you just never know.
This virus is no worse than the flu. Speaking of, also, I talked about my mom and my sisters, but I don't want to forget about on my dad's side. My dad's mom and his grandma also contracted the virus, and my great grandma, which is his grandma, she, I hate to say it like this, but she's died before and came back, and she's very sickly, and she's beat the virus. So like, my fear of the virus is not that high.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Like, it puts things into perspective for people.
Like, at first when it first came out, it's just killing old people, and then started killing young people. So at this point, it's just the flu. Like the flu kills anybody if you're not ready to fight it.
Yeah, I mean, on our show we've talked about news outlets controlling the narrative because they weren't always clear about pre-existing or potential pre-existing conditions that the younger people may have had. I mean, so when you see somebody our age die from coronavirus, it of course is going to look bad, but I mean, we obviously don't know what health issues they had before that.
True. And what else? What was I thinking? I really lost my thought. How did I lose that thought?
We got 2 weeks to find that thought until May 3rd.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I was thinking something about the stay-at-home order. All right, next subject.
Let's just move on to college football. The first game, I mean, if you go to ESPN, week 1 starts Saturday, August 29th. Think the season's going to kick off on time?
I don't think, unless coaches complain, I don't think it's going to be if the stay-at-home order ends in June, I know coaches are going to be ready to pick up. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Going back to coronavirus, I heard that the thing that's going to keep us in social distancing the longest is lack of testing. Like we don't have enough testing for a regular clinic to just have on hand to test people for when they come in. Like, you know how you go, if you go to student health, you can get tested for the flu right then and there when you go in sick. They want to make it where they can test people for the coronavirus the same way before they normalize it like the flu is normalized, which is understandable.
It's kind of unrealistic at this point.
Yeah. With how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
But I feel like they can make it happen. I feel like medical professionals can make a lot happen that they don't make happen. So, but that's just my opinion. But wrapping it up and on to the NFL draft or college football season.
Yeah, we'll dip into college football and then we'll touch on the draft since it's this week, isn't it?
Huh?
It's on the 23rd.
The draft starts Thursday.
Okay, yeah.
But the with the college football season and stuff, man. Me being a college football player, I really hope it starts on time. I pray it starts on time because it's my last season, 1, and 2, it'll interfere with like the just the normal. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be too bad. You'll have college football. You won't have that pause in between conference championships and bowl games.
Yeah. I mean, regardless the college football season is going to be played, it's just when. I mean, I've heard people say that, oh, they're going to push it back to October. I mean, I
doubt it.
Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, are people really willing to play the national title in February?
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I don't see why. I feel like a national title game is a national title game. And I think that's how
I'll take any form. I don't care.
I think that's how all players and coaches look at it. I look at it from a business standpoint of like the TV stations and stuff like that have the basketball season heating up around that time, all that stuff, and like scheduling. From a scheduling standpoint, I think that would be the part where it gets tricky and sticky.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them play in the regular season, but cutting down on the postseason. A lot of them bowl games not being played.
Oh, I mean that, but I feel like that's a lot of money that you're cutting out too from TVs, from the people that host the bowl games. Like, I feel like ultimately when you think about it, it all comes down to what's gonna make you more money.
Yeah, true.
In the bigger, and that's a part of the bigger picture for the people that make those decisions. The revenue, whether it's the revenue for the NCAA or whether it's the money that the GoDaddy.com is gonna make for these two teams playing in the GoDaddy.com Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's all about the moolah, man. Ultimately, I don't care what they do. I just want my last season.
Yeah, I mean the NCAA granted Division I, that is, they granted spring athletes another year of eligibility.
Yeah, I feel like that's green though. Like, how do you only grant division? How are you the NCAA of 3 divisions, right? Well, 4 divisions if you're really thinking about it, because you got in football you got the FCS and the FBS and D1 AA, D1A. But how do you grant one division sports another year and not all?
Yeah, I mean,
I
don't know if
should have been I feel like that should also be a university thing as well, because I remember when this first happened, one of my friends brought to me the attention, like, as far as a coach go, when you go out and recruit and like spend your money as far as like scholarship offers go based on what scholarships you have that are leaving.
Yeah, well, actually, they brought that up the NCAA was actually providing funding for the seniors. So there's like I don't remember.
So that's why they only funded. That's why they only chose D1 because
Yeah, there's like an emergency funding that they could have dipped into to help with scholarships and stuff like that.
I mean, in that it's wrong, but it's the harsh reality of the world. You ain't bringing in no money, you don't get an extra year, bro.
That's still an issue. I mean, if you have a senior, I mean, let's go with softball. If you have a pitcher that was supposed to leave and there's this young guy that was waiting back, I mean, now he has to wait a whole nother year.
Yeah, no, it's gonna create a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, I know it's gonna be some good problems and some bad problems. I'll say it like that. I know it's gonna be way harder for a coach to say, man, I already spent your money, like saying that to a senior or saying to an incoming freshman, yeah, your scholarship might not be there no more. Like,
I mean,
or saying even saying like even coaches that play kids for loyalty, like you might have a freshman that might be a tad bit better than this senior, but this senior done been in your program, he done did everything the right way, so you give him the nod, and now you gave him the nod only because he's a senior, but now he's a senior again. Do you give him that nod again?
Yeah, I mean, more than likely. I mean,
I wouldn't.
Any senior is going to give a nod to. I mean, obviously, I think there'd be some cases where seniors would be like, well, I'm going to come back. I mean, you obviously don't have to play them. They can have that year of eligibility.
Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, you should probably look at it, what's best for the team now type deal. So, I mean, I think they really missed out on.
Because when you have kids, that's what, like I said a loyalty thing, because you have kids in your program that long, they become like your kids, and you don't want to. Who wants to bench their kid? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, and I don't doubt they, will figure everything out. But I think they really dropped the ball on not letting the college, because they're considered winter, aren't they?
What?
College basketball. They're not included in spring.
I'm pretty sure it's like, I don't know how they consider it. I know like in high school, basketball was considered a winter and spring sport. So like if you were ineligible to play in the winter, but you got your GPA over a break for the next semester, you could play in the spring. Like you could finish the season off in the spring part of it, which was kind of crazy. So I don't know. I would consider basketball a winter sport. The only parts that's played in the spring is the championship.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm a little confused on that part, if they included the basketball players or not. I mean, some of those kids missed out on the greatest opportunity of their lives. I mean.
Yeah, but also, like, I feel like basketball got to play the whole season other than the tournament.
Yeah, and that's.
I understand you missed the opportunity, but how do you get another year after playing you played a full regular season?
Yeah, and NCAA made that clear in their statement on their webpage that they weren't included because they finished out their regular season.
Yeah, the softball players, baseball players, the outdoor track runners, they didn't even get to start, bro.
Yeah.
Indoor track runners didn't even get to run the national championship or anything. Wrestlers didn't get they pulled them off the mats while they were practicing, told them time to go home. I felt bad for them. I felt bad for everybody that lost their seasons due to the coronavirus. But basketball players play the whole season, and I can't say that I felt the same way for them as I felt for the players that missed that played not even a third or a quarter of their season.
Oh yeah. I mean, we'll go a little bit off topic here. Who would you crown the national title for basketball?
Florida State. Me personally, because they close to home and they was turning up. They was the best. If you ask me, Florida State was the best team in the country going into the tournament.
That's what I was saying. I mean, people are trying to make arguments for KU, but I mean, KU, they struggled against teams in the Big 12 that, in all reality, should not have been, in March Madness. I know the final bracket wasn't released, but I mean, teams like Oklahoma competed with KU, and they were an absolute mess this season.
No, bro, yeah.
I know Florida State slipped up, a few times, but they were the most trending team for the second half of that season.
Florida State was the best team in the country going into the tournament, and I really had
I think this March Madness was the weakest, or it was going to potentially be the weakest field in like years. There weren't a lot of teams that were going to compete for a national title.
You said there were a lot of teams?
There weren't.
I don't know, bro. Basketball is it's your day sport.
I know. I mean,
the tournament is – you look at the tournament like that, but I feel like any team that got in the tournament could have made a run. But that's the great thing about the sport of basketball. It's your day.
But if you look at it, first glance, I mean, teams like Virginia weren't doing that well. North Carolina had an awful season. Yeah. Kentucky was dropping games towards
but
the end of the season.
That turned into powerhouses not being powerhouses, not the fact that the field wasn't good. It's just the powerhouses weren't the powerhouses that they were used to being. But I feel like when stuff like that happened, I feel like other teams got better. Not the sport is getting weaker.
I mean, in a way, I
feel like that's when other teams are catching up with some powerhouses that year. Like, don't get me wrong, UNC still is UNC, so like they might have a number one recruiting class and come back 10 times better than they were last year. But I feel like that just shows like other teams catching up with them in a way.
Yeah, I mean, like the Big 12, I don't know if you could say that for the Big 12. I mean, it was KU and Baylor and everybody else.
Sounds like football.
Yeah. We won't get on that.
Baylor and everybody else.
Baylor recently, it's Oklahoma and everybody else.
Speaking of, what'd you say about Baylor in football?
I said they're recent in the Big 12. I mean, they've made a comeback, but I mean,
the last 10 years.
Yeah, they're going to suffer this upcoming season, potentially.
Possibly, with losing Matt Rule. But speaking of Matt Rule, NFL draft this Thursday. Everybody knows who's going to be 1 and 2. Who you got at number 3? Speaking of, let's talk about the people that everybody knows. Joe Burrow, Chase Young, 1 and 2. Who is your number 3 pick?
Let me pull up the order here real quick. I mean, while I get this up, I mean, are you still set on Jared Jeudy?
Jared Jeudy, the best.
Jerry Jeudy going first.
Being the first receiver
off of wide receivers, yeah.
Being the first receiver taken.
Yeah.
Listen here, Christian. If he ain't the first receiver taken, somebody gonna get fired.
I'm telling you, CD, man. I think people are starting to really see something. I mean, I'm not ragging on Jeudy. I just think that CD's better overall catching and traffic.
You just say he's better. I mean, but even if he's better overall catching and traffic, Jeudy is. I like CD breaking tackles. But Jeudy is just better. He's better at route running. he jumps higher. He's faster. He's better. His natural hands are better. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
His natural hands are better.
Yeah. That's arguable, but
did CD ever win the Biletnikoff? CD never got one of those, huh? Didn't Marquise Brown win it? CD's freshman year or something, and then Jerry Jeudy won it his sophomore year. And then Jamar Chase won it this year. So, yeah, CD's never even been the best receiver in the country. Come on, dog.
I mean, it's been deep with wide receiver talent.
It has, but Jeudy was the best.
So, I mean, looking at everything right now, I mean, I think Jeff Adoku would probably go third. Jeff.
You looking at a mock draft? I'm gonna tell you why I won't put too much faith in the mock draft. Who got the third pick? The Redskins.
It says Detroit on here.
No, Detroit do got the third pick.
Yeah. Sorry.
Detroit traded Darius Slay. That's why a lot of people got Jeff Okuda going at the third pick.
Oh, okay. I think I misheard you, but I mean, I don't know. You could make an argument that Detroit is going to pick up a quarterback because Matthew Stafford. People are questioning Matthew Stafford's talent.
Sure, Detroit, but they also have a defensive-minded coach that just traded one of the best corners in the NFL.
Yeah,
they gotta go.
It could be Jeff Adoku. I mean, there's nothing. Everything points to that. What about Washington? I mean, is that a quarterback or is that Chase Young?
What number is that? Number 2?
Yeah,
Chase Young for sure. They just drafted a quarterback in the first round. I wouldn't.
What's his name again? I forgot.
Dwayne Haskins.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I told people they shouldn't have got happy after 1 year of him playing good at Ohio State, but the Redskins took the risk, and hopefully it pays off in year 2. Year 1 wasn't it.
I'm excited for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, that's gonna be.
I want to see that.
A good pick.
How that goes. Isaiah Simmons, best player in the NFL draft. Should be the number 1 pick, but that's not how it goes, man.
I mean, I don't think he's the best. I think Chase Young's probably the best overall.
Christian, he's number 1 at 2 positions. He's the number 1 rated prospect at 2 positions. How is he not the best player in the draft?
What do you mean how he's not? Chase Young
he's the number 1 rated safety in the draft and the number 1 rated outside linebacker in the draft.
You're talking about impacting a game. Chase Young is that man.
You ever watched Isaiah Simmons play? Chase Young didn't have an impact versus Clemson, but Isaiah Simmons did.
You're right on that, but that's one game. That's one game. Doesn't
impact on a game. He's the best player at 2 positions. How is that even possible?
I'll rest. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, Christian, just be honest. Think about that. Think about how crazy that is to be going into the NFL draft and not even knowing what position the team is drafting you for because you're that good at it.
I mean, that's true. I mean, he's still going to be a top 5 pick.
No, he is. Don't get me wrong. I said he's the best player in the draft. And literally the argument of him being the number 1 rated prospect at 2 positions should end that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Chase Young is the best end in the draft. But this dude is the best linebacker and the best safety in the draft. As a team, how do you even get this dude and know where to put him? I wouldn't know what to do with him as a coach.
Yeah.
I have to change my whole defense for him.
And you look at it like this, I mean, you hope that he doesn't go to a young coach that doesn't know how to utilize his talent correctly. I mean, we've seen a lot of great talent be wasted because they don't know how to fit them in with in their scheme.
I mean, some dudes are scheme players and some dudes are football players. And I feel like Isaiah Simmons.
But you already know that coaches in the NFL have power trips. If it's not their way, it's the highway, basically.
It depends on who you are. I look at dudes like Minka Fitzpatrick. He's just a baller. This is his 2nd year in the league. Gets traded week 5 and goes and makes all pro team.
Yeah, I mean,
certain dudes you just throw them in the environment, you throw them in the jungle, and you watch them come out with a mink coat on, with a fur coat on, and 20 pounds heavier because he was eating animals.
Yeah.
They just dogs, bro. You can't system that. You can't scheme that. Some dudes are just that guy. Now, don't get me wrong, certain dudes do fade away in systems that don't fit them. But I just feel like a player like Isaiah Simmons, he's just your guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think he would probably go to the Giants at number 4, but then again, Miami, they'll probably choke on their pick, not pick quarterback. And
Miami's getting to him. Well, I'm not.
I don't know. There's rumors that Tua is going to drop out of the top 10.
I'm not gonna act like I'm sold on Miami getting to it because I talked to Chris about this yesterday, and I just feel like that will come down to if the articles are right, if the reports and stuff are right. Because we don't know. We're not in the executive minds, but we get that propaganda. Just
okay. Look, this is how I'm gonna put it. If you look at the Miami's in the top 5, they're sitting at number 5 on this draft board. Nobody in front of them is going to draft a quarterback. Allegedly, if you look at it at first glance, nobody can draft a quarterback. If Miami's sitting there and no quarterback has been drafted yet, why would you pick Tua over Justin?
Justin Herbert?
Yeah. When Justin Herbert is a favorite quarterback off this draft list.
Who said that?
Do what?
Who said that?
The analyst. Justin Herbert's more trending now than Tua Tagovailoa is. Hey. And I think he has more arm talent that would fit the NFL than Tua does.
Huh?
And he's sized better than Tua is.
He's sized better. His arm talent, negative.
Strength-wise, I mean, I don't think he beats Tua with accuracy, but with strength, he does beat Tua.
Okay, so are you drafting what's the kid, Josh Allen from Buffalo, who can't throw a touchdown, but he can run for 100 yards in the game?
Josh Allen, he does completely fine within that offensive scheme, so I don't know if you can compare
We're talking about
Josh Allen and Justin Herbert.
I'm saying NFL arm talent. Josh Allen, everybody talked about Josh Allen's big arm going into the draft, right?
And that is true, but he was lucky enough to be drafted by the Bills.
Big arm in the NFL.
Can you repeat that?
We have yet to see him use that big arm in the NFL.
That is true, and they have brought that up.
I'm saying
about him, but
I'm saying I watch. Don't get me wrong. I seen the Clemson game versus Tua when he rushed himself back from the ankle injury. But I watched Justin Herbert be a senior this year and smoke some games away, and smoke away Oregon's chances to go to the playoffs. So, as a coach, that's going to be a big red flag.
But you already know why Tua is probably not the favorite anymore. Let's just take talent out of it. Let's take talent completely out of it.
They're talking about injuries, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is a lot of stuff is said pre-draft, and it's from anonymous sources, so we can't track back. We can't backtrack the sourcing. But when draft day comes, a lot of that stuff is proven wrong.
Mm-hmm. So I compare Tua Tagovailoa to Sam Bradford's draft, because Sam Bradford, he lost out on his last season in college. I don't know if you remember this. Back in, I believe, 2009, because he went into the 2010 draft. He suffered an injury, and so he missed on a majority of that season. Tua Tagovailoa was kind of in the same situation. Do what?
Was Sam Bradford a top 5 pick?
He went number 1 overall.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And so you could argue that Sam Bradford was already injury prone because of a shoulder injury that he suffered in college. Now, when he went into the league, I don't know if he got scared or what. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint, injuries and stuff like that. But he ended up having multiple knee injuries in the NFL. Now, with Tua Tagovailoa, he's already had a significant hip injury. So you can easily compare him to Sam Bradford because he already has that injury-prone, name on his back. So how can you trust a quarterback that's already questionable to start at the beginning of the season?
People do it all the time.
But people want to win now. I mean, they don't want to win
people do
2 seasons. They want to win now. I mean, if I was Miami, I'm tired of being, the right now. Miami's the new Cleveland, and if I'm Miami, I want to get rid of that label. And you're not going to get rid of that label anytime soon with Tua Tagovailoa.
Why would I not choose the quarterback from Alabama if I want to win now?
So it's a brand name. I mean, so we're drafting Tua Tagovailoa off of just a simple brand name of Alabama.
But you just talked about win. You talked about winning now. I said Tua is healthy right now, and he's
allegedly
quarterback for Alabama. So he fits the criteria.
Personally, I wouldn't draft him. with a hip injury like that. I mean, at first glance, he needs to get bigger.
How long was the recovery on the hip injury? He's at full speed right now.
The recovery? I can't remember the full recovery.
He's at full speed right now, and that hip injury it wasn't even 9 months ago. The ACL recovery is a 9-month process.
Yeah.
6 if you're special.
I just see a lot of the Sam Bradford situation going on. He comes into the league hurt, and he never recovers. I mean, you could even argue that that's the same with Andrew Luck on why he retired so early. Is that hopefully a team's obviously going to take a risk on drafting him, but I don't think it's going to be anybody within the top 10. Because Tua Tagovailoa still has that question mark on if he's able to start at full speed in the NFL.
Negative. I'm not rolling. I mean, I know the question mark is there. I'm not rolling. I know the question mark is there, but
I'm cautious. I mean,
based on everything that you said, if I want a quarterback to do what you said you want him to do, I'm going to get to him, and I'm taking the risk. I'm the Dolphins. What do I have to lose?
You ready for this take right here? You ready for it?
What do I have to lose?
I would rather take a chance right now on Jalen Hurts at the number 5 pick than Tua Tagovailoa with that hip injury.
We're going to end the podcast today. That was Talking Nonsense. It's your boy Amari. That was my co-host, Christian Phillips. And thank you for tuning in.